All right, folks, welcome to the runningrestaurants.com podcast, where we bring you the tips, tools, and techniques you need to know to make your restaurant more profitable and successful. I'm your host, Jamie Oikel. And today we've got a slightly different type of episode for you where I'm talking to a longtime contact from the softball world who is now in startup mode for a franchise called Capital Tacos. Bill Hoops, welcome, man. How are you?
I appreciate it. Thanks for having me. I'm doing pretty good, excited. I do a podcast and video cast for softball. I've never been on someone else's show, so this is pretty exciting. It's an honor. I appreciate you bringing me on and excited to talk about
Yeah.
not only softball, but tacos and what brought us to this point, and just excited with the relationship we built, my partner, Pat, and both of our families working towards a common goal. So thanks for having me. I'm excited to be here.
Yeah, good. And listen, we're pretty unscripted. We know each other from softball world. I want to have kind of a wide ranging conversation. We'll definitely get into Capital Tacos, how you
Yeah.
made that decision to go forward. But let's start with softball. You wear a lot of hats on the softball field. I see this guy just doing everything: events, college recruiting, combines. Talk about it.
Yeah, so for me, my softball journey started as a dad, right? I didn't play a lot of high school sports. I didn't play a lot of sports when I was a kid growing up. Prodigy of a single mother, so I was working very, very early. Joined the Navy when I was younger at about 19 years old, became a father when I was 23. To a beautiful daughter named Jessica, and she is currently a junior at Florida Southern playing Division II softball. But so the softball journey started when she was 10, 11 years old. We were in Buffalo, New York. I was a recruiter out there for the Navy. She brought home a flyer from the Little League and basically said, hey, we're taking signups. I said, babe, we're getting ready to move. When we get to Florida, we'll get you signed up for softball. She was a gymnast at the time, but wasn't really in love with it. We got down to Florida. We got settled. I took over recruiting station for the Navy in St. Petersburg. And again, another flyer from the elementary school that said Clearwater Little League sign up. So at this point in time, we got her signed up for Little League, and she was playing. My wife and I were parents just watching, and the coach got sick. And the team in the Little League had no other volunteers. So we got into softball, right? Fast forward a couple seasons of Little League. Then we were introduced to travel ball, started running a couple travel ball teams, just continued to progress. 10U, 12U, 14U. At 14U, I brought the Firecrackers organization to Florida, which over a 3-year period that I was working with it from 2015 to 2018, 2019, we had, at one point in time, it was crazy. We had 18, 19 teams running throughout the state. Because of that, I got contacted by some representatives for PGF who said, hey, we're running a tournament in the area. We see that you've got a pretty good social media group in softball. What do you think about helping us run the tournament? The funny thing is, initially I said, no, man, I'm too busy. I'm running 18 softball teams. I'm a teacher. I just got out of the Navy. I was now teaching at a middle school, and my wife and I were super busy. We just had no time for any more softball, right? We were traveling all over the country. It was crazy. But then about 6 weeks later, those people contacted me again. And we listened and we did it, and we ran our first event in Gainesville in March of 2018. It was an 18-team tournament, one that you may be familiar with called Gator Ball.
Yeah.
Right? So that was the first PGF tournament, March of 2018. Gained a lot of popularity, and man, it's been a 4-year ride since. And I think having 10 years of travel ball experience coming into tournament directing kind of gave me an advantage, right? Like, I knew what I wanted to see as a coach. I knew what I wanted to see in the fields. I knew what I wanted to see in the officials, right? And then I wear my anchor on my chest every single day. Being a chief petty officer in the Navy, I was in the Navy for 17 years and made it all the way up to chief petty officer. And they teach you about leadership and team building, and softball teaches you about all those things too, right? Just like any other coach, I did a bunch of crazy stuff and, probably wasn't always the best coach, but, we learn and we grow and we get better, and, you figure out how to do the job, right? So I took that into tournament directing, and very fortunate to have lived in the state of Florida, to be honest with you, because over the last couple of years, we have been open, right? And because Florida has been open, we have been running tournaments, and people from all over the country, because they were not open, came to Florida to play. And it's a lot of that, I would say probably 30% of that has stuck. And it's just really, it's a humbling experience, right? Like I don't take any of this for granted. I know every week, being a parent of a child of a single parent, my mom couldn't afford to do what we do every weekend, right? There was just I could have been the best baseball, basketball wrestler in the world. There was just no way she would have been able to afford it working 2 jobs, right? So I take value in that. I know every weekend people take their time and they're creating their memories with these kids on these fields. So I stay very humbled by that. And I try to work hard from sun up to sundown to really make these not just tournaments, but events, give back to the community, give back to the kids. It's been a great 10-year softball journey. I feel like it's only getting better. We've got a lot more to do in the community and give back. But it's been a lot of fun, right? To be able to, as a travel ball coach, I put almost 80, 100 kids with Pat Affronti when we were coaching for the years. And even before that, almost 100 kids through college, through coaching travel ball, and then certainly through the exposure our PGF tournaments offer. So I know that's long-winded to how I got into softball, but it's
there's the
meme every day wanting to see these kids, man, and just see them do really well, and it's been a lot of fun.
There, it just reminds me of the meme or the story or wherever you give a girl a softball, and then she wants a bat, then she wants a helmet, then she wants a glove, and it's like you give him a coach, you give him a tournament, give him now it's like across the country and across the spectrum, running giant events with hundreds of teams and sponsors and goodies. And so chiming in from my side, the events are always well run. You got goodies, you got sponsors, you got now you're doing a lot of stuff after the event, awarding folks recognition. So very, 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 it's incredible. It's like, my story in softball is only a little bit similar in that, you start and you just start as a little volunteer, and then you coach a little bit more and you coach a little bit more, and you get brought in, and it becomes a life and a lifestyle. And when you're rocking every weekend and traveling all around.
Man. Look, it's tattooed on me, man. It is my life. That's from when we won the 2019 3A state championship with Admiral Farragut. I coached and won at the high school level too. Like this, I bleed yellow and red stripes.
Well, let's transition a little bit, and not yet to the restaurants, but I want to get there. But I think for you, a big turning point, and you can obviously tell the story, but you had a significant car crash, and that just seemed to change your mindset, with fitness, lifestyle, work, whether it's up to your energy and your passion. Talk about that.
Yeah, you're gonna get me emotional on here, man. I am an emotional guy, right? So listen, I've always been a worker. I've always been motivated. Again, I dropped out of high school when I was 16 years old and got 2 jobs because mom said the rent was due and you had to go do what you had to do. At 19, I was lucky enough to meet a Navy recruiter that changed my life, and I joined the Navy and kicked the door in. I got promoted 7 times in 12 years, but I was never a happy person, right? I was never like totally settled. I grew up in a very, I don't want to use the word toxic, but just crazy environment, right? We were always moving, always on the go, and things were just, anyways, it was a crazy lifestyle growing up. My mother did the best she could, but I was always unsettled. And then, in 2020, right before COVID hit, February 2020, I had just started the 2020 high school season. It was opening day. I was still coaching high school at Admiral Farragut. We had just beat Osceola High School for the first time in many, many years on opening day, coming off of a state championship. It was a great opening day win. And one of the girls on the Osceola team play on my travel ball team. I took a picture with her, say, we'll see you in a couple weeks, and stopped at my mother's house on the way home. I'm driving home after that. She lives in Pinellas County. I live in Pasco, just north. doing 45 miles an hour down 66th Street underneath the Brian Dairy Exchange. Eyes on the road, straight as day. This guy pulls out in front of me. I don't see him. I don't have time to move, don't have time to weave. I take him pretty much head on. Every airbag in the car exploded. I got knocked out, bad concussion, minor laceration on my leg, but overall not physically hurt, but just over the next 6 months, I got pretty much awoken to what kind of life I had now. It was a transition from where you come, what you've done, how you live to, what are you going to do today? What is going to be good today? You have been given another opportunity to kind of be here and make things different, right? One of the major parts of that was me and my wife. You might know, man, I love that woman. I say it every single day.
Yeah, there's social proof out there, man. This guy, this you give this guy a camera, he'll take a picture of his beautiful wife.
Come on, she is amazing, right? I can sit here. It's a whole nother episode to talk about her. But that woman and I, at that point in time, have been married for 16 years, and we never even had a wedding, right? Never had a wedding. I could have passed away in that car accident. My wife would have spent 16 years of her life with me, raised 2 almost adult children, not a single wedding picture. We got married in our daughter's daycare center and went to KFC and had an all-you-can-eat buffet for the honeymoon after that. Like, I told her, I said, baby, we're married now. You can have the world. She's from North Carolina. That's where we were at the time. So we went to KFC. But anyways, fast forward to shortly after that wreck, I was just like, look, we don't even have a single wedding picture. I was looking at my body. I was looking at my personal life, how I thought, how I, acted towards the world. I wasn't some mean, nasty, crazy guy. I mean, I was a pretty nice guy for the most part, but there's certain things you don't have to do, right? And it's a choice on whether or not you do them, and certain things that you should say to people every day, certain way you should take care of yourself. And that was one of the biggest things I had to learn for me. I spent every day from the time I was young. Man, I'm telling you my whole story here, Jamie.
Yeah, I love it. No, that's why we're here.
All right, from the time I was young, until that wreck, fighting and working hard and doing for everyone else, really ignoring myself. So, bring in 60 minutes a day for me, right? And it is really, that part has changed my life. I spend about an hour, sometimes 2, just really working on me. And that's not always just lifting weights and running, but sometimes it's just looking at what I have, appreciating what I have, reading, writing, talking, just really being humbled and present in my life, being there for my kids, which I always was, but really making sure they know, right? That wreck, again, long-winded answer, but that wreck changed my whole life, right? It changed my outlook on my life. Yeah. It changed, that could happen again tomorrow, so I got to make sure every second I have here, I'm doing my best to make a difference. And that's kind of what I'm working on now.
Yeah, I appreciate you going there with us. And I've seen your post where I think your hashtag is like 60 for me, right? 60 for me. Exactly. And I've seen you talk about it, and I've seen it inspire a number of other people to make changes in their life and their fitness, and they're thinking about it. Because when you need to pull away, and me, same thing. Reading a book, one of these books, Atomic Habits, right? Just make it a habit. And so I've made a little fitness routine a habit for me every day for the last three months or so. And man, it just changes everything. It changes your outlook, gives you better energy, a little focus, but it's easy to skip it, right? So I do mine in the morning, right? Can't skip it. But if you skip it, the day goes and then I'll get to it later. It's hard getting to it later. Day rolls on. And if you make that time for yourself, man, I agree 100% important. So I know you do as well.
And I do have that hashtag 60 for me. What's crazy is because I'm on Facebook a lot, right? I use it a lot for my business. I advertise a lot on my business, and that part of my Facebook kind of, I expect that to go out to the world. I'm wanting other people to kind of, hey, here's what he's advertising. Come do this and be part of the event. But the other part of Facebook that I think people forget about is like that memory button comes up every day. Right. Oh, yeah. I look at my memories from years past. I get to see my kids when they were 4 and 5. Right. And for me, like, there's nobody that holds me accountable every day except for me. So every day when those memories pop up, like I see them, and it reminds me of what I'm working on and where I'm going. So, if because of that, that inspires other people, that's truly a humbling experience. But for me, like, it's a reminder every day of where I've gone, where I'm going, where I want to go. And those Facebook memories, man, for me, they serve their purpose. I look at them every day. So that's a lot of why. And if you go to that hashtag, like, it's the whole journey. If you ever click on that thing, if you ever click, like, people put hashtags on Facebook, but you ever actually click on them?
Right.
If you ever actually click on them, it shows the whole story of that label. And it's pretty cool. I figured that out about, I don't know, 4 or 5 months ago. And it's really, that hashtag is the last 2 years of my life.
That's right. Okay. Yeah. It's true. It's true. Yeah. That's what they built those darn hashtags for.
Right.
But a lot of people just have fun with them. My day is going great. Hashtag, whatever. You just make whatever. But it's a tracking mechanism. That's why it's there. Well, let you know what's going to be real interesting for you and powerful, and I'm sure you're excited about as you transition to the restaurants, is you do have a following, both of a network of people, both social. You're going to probably bring that into your restaurant business pretty hard. I'm sure that's part of the planning, but just let's go back a step. How do you take on the idea of a multi-unit restaurant franchise deal, and like what's going through the brain of a startup guy?
So again, right, if you're putting your toe in the water to see how cold it is, chances are you're not going to jump in the pool. Right. I mean, that's what it is. Right. I mean, if you're checking to see, you have to make sure you can swim. But for me, like, I don't know, man, like, part of my journey, I dropped out of high school, like I said, when I was 16 years old. Shortly after that, my mother sent me to a program called Job Corps, right? It's run by the Department of Labor, and it's for kids that necessarily don't know where they're going and what they're doing, and it teaches them a trade. So at 16 years old, I got on a plane and I went to Morganfield, Kentucky, not knowing anywhere or any place or anybody. And I entered Earl C. Clements Job Corps Center in an 18-month program where I was only there 11 months. I finished ahead of schedule. I got my GED and I got a technical certification in culinary arts. So I spent the next 2.5 years of my life, from just about 17 to 19 before I joined the Navy, working in the restaurant business. It was just a Ruby Tuesdays off of US 19 and Gulf to Bay there. I think it's a Cheddar's now. I don't even think it's open anymore. But I worked there for 2.5 years and really fell in love with being able to have that opportunity again, to be able to provide a service to people that some people might get to do every day. Some families might never cook at home and get to go out every day. So we want to provide those people a service. But on the same side, you have some families like my mother, I hate to sound like a broken wheel, but who would work for months on end just to be able to take us out one time.
That's right.
Who never, my mother and I sat down probably for a year and ate nothing but a salad and baked potato and school lunch because that's all she could afford. So when I did that and lived that way and then went to culinary school, I didn't do anything with cooking or anything in the Navy, but I've always had a passion for it. For some reason, I've always been driven. For a long time, I thought food truck. It's portable, it's mobile, but it comes with its own set of advantages and disadvantages, right? So I bought a house about 10 years ago in 2012 in Newport Richey. It was the first house that I ever bought in my life. And my wife and I made an investment for that, which was a huge struggle at the time for us, transitioning out of the Navy, but we took a chance, and that investment paid off for us 10 years later in this crazy housing market,
right?
Where we were given an opportunity to be able to take on another venture. So my brain kept going back to food, and we started looking at franchising because, again, for me, I started Florida PGF, but I had PGF as a resource, right? I had my regional manager. I had the headquarters to be able to kind of help me on the business side of that, right? Which led me to think, okay, franchise. So we did that. And we were looking at several, and this past January, we saw that Capital Tacos started franchising, and I went online like everyone else and filled out the form, and they got back to us in an amazingly timely manner, and answered all our questions and all of our conversations. And through the process, I started thinking, okay, do I want to go into this by myself? Do I want to have a partner? Or, what do I want to do there? And so my buddy Pat, Patrick Affronti, who has been a good friend of mine for the last 10 years. I've coached a couple travel ball teams with him, won a couple national championships with him. He also runs a major softball organization in the state with NSA, so we have something in common there. We've just been great friends for the last, decade. And so I asked him to jump on board with what I was doing. And thankfully he agreed. So Pat and I are doing this Capital Taco venture together, which I can't be more excited about, right? He's a guy who also, approaches a little bit different than me. He's not doing webinars and doing all this crazy stuff, but he still provides a good product for great kids. And we coach differently. Like, he's going to be the guy where you're not going to know that he's calling a squeeze bunt, and I'm going to be the guy like throwing my arms up in the air and hype it. Like, we just have different approaches, right? So the partnership here, it might be like you and your other coach, right? You guys probably have different approaches as well. So coming into the restaurant business with him, it was a natural ask for me. Every time we're on the road, the only place this guy ever wants to go eat is a Mexican restaurant, right? So natural fit for me to say, hey, buddy, like, this is my passion. This is what I want to do. What do you feel? And it's been a 5-month process talking and with Capital Tacos and doing all of that. But I'll tell you, like, we are super excited. They have a great team. They have great people. They have great ownership. I've got a great partner in Pat, and within myself, like, I've got a great motivation, man. Like, for me, I'm treating it just like everything else that I've done. Like, I want this to be, hey, Bob, how you doing? It's Wednesday. You want the usual? Like, we're going to have our people that just want to come in, get their food and go. And we're going to have our Uber orders and all of our online stuff that's going to, but I still want there to be a sense of community. I want a wall where the Vipers, come in and they've got a jersey on the wall, right? Like, I want, the local high school to, when they win the big game, this is where we're going. Like, I want that sense of community,
right? Just
like we relay into our tournaments, right? Even though there's, everybody plays a bunch of different places, when you come here, it's just a little bit of a different feel, at least for me and from what I hear from the people there. So
I'm going to try to pull up their website. We'll just spend a second out there and you can tell me anything maybe about the brand a little bit. Let's see if this will work. Let's go. All right, does this look right? Are we in the right place?
That is the right place. Cinco de Mayo. They're in big catering order for Cinco de Mayo. Great, fast casual Mexican food. Great for catering. Great for, stopping in on the go. Part of the reasoning why we wanted to get with the brand, right? Great catering options. Think about that, like you had mentioned already, the crowds that we already serve, right? So being able to bring some of this, there's some parks that we run at that don't have concessions, things like that. And then there's a new complex opening up in the I don't know if you know this, what's it called? Starkey Ranch. Starkey Ranch, there's a Ford-Field complex opening in the Trinity Starkey Ranch area, which is only going to be a few miles from our hopeful location that we're working on right now. So,
okay.
Yeah.
So let me hit the location buttons now. Where are they now? Like, how many locations?
Right, so right now you have 5 corporate locations. You've got the first one in Land O'Lakes. You've got Wesley Chapel. You've got Port Richey. Then in the Tampa area, you've got Brandon, and you've got an Express out in the Riverview area.
Okay. Gotcha. Okay. And so you're undertaking a couple locations?
Right. So we have been given the primary location of Trinity, Tarpon Springs, and Palm Harbor. So south of the western portion of Pasco County, with Holiday and Trinity included, and then north of Pasco County with Tarpon Springs the Oldsmar, Palm Harbor area. So the goal is getting the first one open with a couple more after that, but
yeah,
certainly focused on getting the first one open right now.
for sure. Yeah, I mean the first one will be the hardest for you, and then
Sure.
you'll figure a lot out. Man, they do a great job. They do great photography. Looks fantastic.
Yeah, I mean, again, the menu is amazing. There's a variety, right? It's called Capital Tacos, but quesadillas. I scroll down a little bit right there. If you look, those fries, man, I'm telling you, you're coming in after a game. That is basically tacos on some of the best hand seasoned fries that you could imagine out there. Imagine so nachos to the right, right?
Yeah.
Fries built the same way to the it's for a guy who's been trying to work out for the last 2 years, it's tough to say no. But again, made with the best ingredients. It's not going to kill you on the backside. I feel comfortable, busting out 2 tacos. I like the scroll down a little bit. The Catawampus and the Ace High right there. Those are my 2 favorites. The Catawampus and the Ace High.
Oh my gosh.
I'm telling you, bro.
I got to turn it off. We're getting hungry here. We're getting hungry.
But listen, it really is. It started here in Pasco County, right? Just as a mom and pop brand, and the 2 gentlemen that own it now have traveled the country, tasting some of the tacos all over the country, and felt so strong about this brand. I was introduced to Capital Tacos as a teacher. Like I say, the first one opened in Land O'Lakes. If you're familiar with the Pasco County school system, all of their headquarters and their administrative buildings are right there by Land O'Lakes High School. So when you have to go there and you're on training, you say, hey, where do you go for lunch? Well, all of the teachers and everybody that works there, hey, you go to Capital Taco. So we did, and that's a small location. It's kind of in and out, but the rest of them, each one of them has their own unique flair. No location looks the same. You walk into some other places, you kind of know where you're at, but each one of these kind of has their own little pizzazz, uniquely different, but really, really, as they say, done right, and the food is what keeps you coming back. So
what I think we'll do is check back in with you, right? Like we got to see a guy who's local, who's doing the journey, who's opening up, first time operator. Like you're going to struggle. Like right now, like there's a whole shitload of stuff that's tough with the restaurant business. People, food costs, gas is up, everything, inflation, etc. And so you're going to hit those things hard. You got to find good people. You got to do the training.
Yeah.
So we'll have to do another session in a couple months when you're getting through some of those things. Check back in. What about we're out there at capitaltacos.com. Anywhere else to send them? Anything else you want to share? Parting thoughts? What do you think?
No, man. Listen, we appreciate you having us on here to be able to talk a little bit about myself, both of the business ventures that we're getting into. Like you just mentioned, getting into any business is tough, right? Rewind back 2 years ago, I was running a primary 100% outdoor business where, we had no idea what was going to happen in the country and no idea what was going to happen in the world. We forged through that, and, we grew exponentially throughout that period, and that has very little to do with me and a whole lot to do with, the team that we have together and our UIC and our staff and the officials that work for us every day, the field crew that puts these fields together. I get to be the conductor, but all of these amazing people, they are the ones that every day make sure that these kids get to go out and play. So we want to take that same thought process to our franchise and Capital Taco business. We want to build teams. We want people to want to wake up and come to work. I don't care if it's a quick serve restaurant or somebody that's running down the beach, right? We want to treat people fairly. We want to build team. We want to let them know their worth and their value. And when you do that, I think inherently people want to be a part of what you're doing. So, same business here. Why I wanted to jump on here and be a part of what you're doing. When good people do good things, right? Like it comes back to them. So I'm humbled by the experience and the fact that people do make a choice to play with us and hopefully share a meal with us throughout their days. It's really been a lot of fun getting to this point.
I think Everything you said really echoes. I just interviewed a great guy yesterday, Michelle Falcon, up in Toronto, and he's got a brand that's expanding as well. And when that comes out, I'll get you a copy of it. You're gonna very good learnings, because what he's taken his culture and his story, and he's ingrained his story into who works for him, and he's got like zero turnover. Right. And so I think you're very much the same way. When the story that you just told us right now, and feel free to put this on your recruiting page, talking about your background. When you put your story into the DNA of the restaurant, you're going to naturally recruit people that have the same belief system, not the slackers that are just looking for a part-time job. So you're going to find those people that resonate with your story and your work ethic, and then those people are going to grow with you. And some people are going to move on to college and whatnot, but they're going to really resonate and stick. And so I think if you make that a big part of your recruiting and your brand inside Capital Tacos, I already know you're going to be successful because of what you bring to the equation. But like, just that mentality of bringing that culture into it, I think is going to be even more powerful. So I'll make sure I forward that to you. And so forth.
I appreciate that, man. And I just add one more thing to that, right? Is people just need a chance, right? Like, sometimes people got nothing and they have no direction. And if you give them a chance, like, they'll kick the door in. Right. Like, and those people there's a lot of people sometimes get overlooked for that chance. So when you build teams with people that are looking to excel, it's a win-win for anyway. Anyways, I just want to add that in there, man. I greatly appreciate you having us on, and I'm excited. I'm excited for what's to come and positive for the future for sure.
Awesome, man. Yeah, it's been great. Been great to chat. I appreciate you folks. This has been Bill Hoops of Capital Tacos and Florida PGF Softball. So we'll see him out on the field soon. You can check out Capital Tacos at capitaltacos.com, playfloridapgf.com. That's PlayFL, correct. PlayFLPGF.com. For more great restaurant marketing, operations, service, people, and tech tips, stay tuned to us here at runningrestaurants.com. We'll see you next time. Thanks, Bill.
I appreciate it, man. Have a good day.
You too.